Welcome to episode number 91 of the Project 2020 show. It is Tuesday evening, October 6, 2020, and we have now seen cards number 277 and 278 in the 400 card Project 2020 set. But the buying window is closing for the Monday cards. So if you've not picked up your Nat Trout, Willie Mays, or your Matt Taylor, Mark McGwire, go purchase those right now, because on the episode tomorrow, we're going to recap the print runs from those two cards. But what is most important right now is the two releases from this Tuesday. And first up is card number 277. It is this Ken Griffey Jr. by JK5. And one of the greatest strengths of a JK5 card, but is also one of the weaknesses when it comes to the Topps website, is the amount of detail on the card that is lost on the actual website. I really hope you guys check out his about 3-minute video talking about this card. A couple of highlights for me. I do like the 89 in the neck, the Space Needle, and then the pencil as the bat, because we know JK5 draws these with pencil and then he colors them in. So I thought it was a really nice looking JK5. He did go back to more black and white, but I really want to see this card paired next to the Gregory Sif, because I think both of these artists did the blue and yellow for the Mariners colors, but not only then the 89 card very well. And speaking about that Gregory Sif Ken Griffey Jr. version, that is one of the last 3 releases for Griffey. Before the card today, we had that Natural version, 3,330. Then we had that Sif and the Blake Jameson. The highlight right now, of course, is that Jameson Bubblegum Pink, selling nearly 6,000 copies in the 200s. And I don't believe we're going to see this JK5 approach anywhere near that near 6,000 print run. And then on JK5 himself, we've had Dwight Gooden, Don Mattingly, and then the burger card we talked about last night with Mark McGwire. His highlight, of course, is that Mattingly 3547. No surprise, this is a big favorite of mine, not only because of the fact that I am collecting JK5's complete set. This is a Ken Griffey Jr. card, and although I'm not collecting Ken Griffey Jr., it is always great to see how the artists interpret the Mariners players in the set. Along with Griffey, we do have Ichiro. And while Topps again dashed my hopes of having a dual Mariner Ichiro Griffey release day, there are only 120 cards left, so Topps, give it to me one time. Give me a dual Mariner release. We do have card number 278, this Don Mattingly by Don C. And when you look at this card, there's a lot of things to look at, but I think there's one big glaring omission on this card. But I will say I do like the mug on the bottom, the little tchotchke mug that you buy when you go to New York. But how did we get here with Don Mattingly and Don C? Don C, his most recent release was that Mike Trout. Before that, it was the artwork he commissioned for the Jackie Robinson, and before that, it was the Lord reference. And then on Mattingly, we saw him last week with Ermsey. Before that, Matt Taylor, and then that JK5 you just saw a second ago. The highlights here on Don C, of course, are he released his Mike Trout. That's a highlight for any artist. Just over 7,000 copies sold. And then that Don Mattingly by Ermsey did very well, 3536, just underneath his recent JK5 at 3547. And that glaring omission on the Don Mattingly, while I thought it was a neat looking card, it was the fact that the Twin Towers were not present in the card. Now maybe he wanted to put them in there and Topps said no, but I don't know why Topps would say that is a controversial image to put in the card. And maybe Don C didn't even put it in the card, and I'm just surmising something that never happened. But I would really think when you think of 1984 New York Don Mattingly, you think of the Twin Towers. And while it's very clear what my card of the day is going to be, it's going to be the Griffey JK5. What matters here is what did the fans do in the first day of pre-orders available on eBay. As of 8 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, the Ken Griffey Jr. sold 21 copies and the Mattingly sold 16 copies. So both of these cards are way out of front of the cards from yesterday. So when you think of a print run number, and by the way, just for full transparency here, I'm basically taking this number and then quickly looking at the chart and making sort of a print run guess. So please do not purchase off of this guess. So on the JK5 Ken Griffey Jr., when you look at those pre-order totals and you think about his recent Natural release, I really think we're going to see this card 3.2 to 3.5. His Natural is 3,300. So I think we're going to see another very similar number, maybe a little bit above, for this JK5. And then on the Don Mattingly by Don C, I really think we're going to see a mid to high 2,000 print run card. 2.6, 2.7 would not surprise me on this card. It is a Yankee card, and I understand Don C has some questions on the fan base right now, but at the end of the day, this is a Don Mattingly, and the pre-orders are strong after day number 1. And then quickly looking back on the cards from Monday, where do they stand as of 8 o'clock tonight? The Willie Mays Natural was second yesterday. It is now number 1. That card has sold 14 copies on eBay, and then the Matt Taylor has sold 11. That means the Matt Taylor McGuire only sold 2 copies on eBay the entire last 24 hours. So I think we're going to still see some low print runs on these cards, and we might even see that McGuire come down closer to the Natural Willie Mays, as I surmised yesterday that the McGuire would be a little bit ahead of that Mays. I think these could basically be close to the same number this time tomorrow evening. And then as we look forward to Wednesday, there's a very special release coming tomorrow. Fucci is releasing his Bob Gibson, and it's Bob Gibson without a face, but he's in the clouds. So the memorial of Bob Gibson starts tomorrow with Fucci, and I cannot wait to see how this card sells and how the fans receive this card, because now we're in a very special place in Project 2020 as we continue to remember the career and life of Bob Gibson.